How's it going, you guys? Damocles here, and today I wanted to talk about the things that make Sylveon so broken in Pokemon Unite. I just released a Sylveon build. Go check it out. It's awesome. It'll make you melt the enemy team. I think we hit 150,000 damage in the game on that video, but go and check that out. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the dope Pokemon Unite content we're putting out. And follow me on all socials, TikTok, Twitter, you know, the whole deal. And let's hop into Sylveon, shall we? So, first things first. Thing that makes Sylveon so busted is its pure damage output. Its damage output is ridiculous. With Hyper Voice and with Calm Mind, you are going to be dealing more damage than most Pokemon do with their Unite moves. And Hyper Voice literally has a 2-second cooldown. It's that ridiculous. And not only is it just a damaging move, it's a damage amplifying move. You can deal more damage if you aim it properly, and the more waves that actually hit one individual target, the more damage the target is going to take by that singular Hyper Voice. So it just stacks. It just starts compounding. The damage starts getting ridiculous. If you add in Calm Mind to that mix, you're going to be dealing even more damage because Calm Mind increases its special attack even further. And combining those two things together, plus Sylveon's passive, which is another damage amplifying metric, which increases Sylveon's special attack, basically stacking up to 6 times. You're talking about a character that just melts through entire teams. Hyper Voice is an AoE ability. It goes through enemies. It penetrates through walls. It just shreds entire teams. So your damage output at the end of the game is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Coupled with the fact that this move is dealing sustained damage with a low cooldown, you're also able to go and do objectives incredibly quickly, rivaling even Hex Sludge Gengar for objective clearing speed with a special attack character. It's that good. So that's number one. All right, number two is its defensive capabilities. This character has high mobility for a character that doesn't really have high mobility. Yes, you can go and spec into Mystical Fire if you want to. I'm not a big fan of it. I just think that it is not as consistent as Hyper Voice is because of the random targeting, but that's for an entirely other video all on its own. But if you're running the Hyper Voice build, you're not just like stuck in place. You don't have to go and like cast it. You can go and move while you're using Hyper Voice. And every time you hit with Hyper Voice or your basic attacks, you're going to be increasing your special defense as well because of Sylveon's passive. It's just this character, no matter if it's on attack or defense, is going to just be doing a whole lot for very little. So you're able to go and kite back amazingly well because you're increasing your own defenses and you're able to output sustained damage while you're retreating because you don't have to be aiming in the direction that Hyper Voice is going. If you add on top of that, Calm Mind also increases your defenses as well as your offenses. You're talking about a remarkably pseudo tanky character, even when you're building pure damage. It's kind of weird. You can go and add on to that the fact that its Unite move allows it to have some sustain too. So if you go and take our first point about the damage, and then you add in the Unite move Heal, which basically makes it so all of your abilities heal you for basically the entirety of your HP bar when you land a Hyper Voice for a certain period of time after you use the Unite move. This character is able to deal massive amounts of damage, sustain themselves in a team fight, and not immediately get blown up by the main damage dealers that exist in this game simply because it has a bunch of stacking defensive and offensive buffs. It really is just I feel like every single one of these points has 7 other points built in because the character's kit is so stacked. Third reason why this character, Sylveon, is also insane is, and probably the most overlooked, but in my opinion one of the most influential reasons why this character is busted, is the fact that it gets its Unite move at level 8. And I don't think people are giving this enough respect. To put it in perspective, every single character in Pokemon Unite, aside from Blissey and Wigglytuff, get their Unite moves at level 9 or level 10. And what that means is if you are going and playing the game normally as you should, and you're not getting totally stomped, or you're not totally stomping the enemy team, the first time that people are going to be getting their Unite moves is going to be at Dreadnought. It's going to be when you go to capture that first Dreadnought. And so whatever team usually captures that first Dreadnought, if all things are equal and no team's getting stomped, that's the team that's going to get their Unite move first, right? With the exception of Blissey and Wiggly. But the thing is, Blissey and Wiggly are not pure damage dealers, right? You could feasibly run, I mean not feasibly, but hypothetically you could run one of those characters in the jungle, but you really wouldn't. It would kind of be a waste, right? Whereas Sylveon has insane damage output in the jungle and insane clear in the jungle, so that it actually is a viable jungle prospect. And it's a pure damage dealer, which makes it even more of a viable choice to be run in the jungle. The reason why this is so strong is because, coupled with jungle XP, Sylveon is able to reliably get to level 8, which is where its Unite move, before Dreadnought spawns, and in some cases long before Dreadnought spawns, which means your team is basically automatically going to win that Dreadnought fight, because you're going to have one person, one damage dealer, that does a ton of damage and already has their Unite move before anybody else on the other team can even think about getting theirs. And I'm talking, and when I say it's going to get level 8 before Dreadnought, I'm talking about in the worst case scenario, Sylveon's going to get level 8 before Dreadnought. Sylveon could literally go, and you can go and test this out in a practice match if you want to. Go into a practice match, run, Hyper Voice Calm Mind build, and only grab your buff camps and the court fish. That's it. Go grab your buff camps and the court fish, and then maybe just for realism, go and score once or score twice. If you do that and you keep getting your buff camps and your court fish, just those 2 court fish on your side of the map on cooldown, you're going to hit level 8 before Dreadnought spawns. And that is, that's like simulating you being AFK, right? Like, nobody actually would just do that, sit in their jungle, do nothing except for get Buffalo, Ludicolo, and 2 Corphish. You go and you get lane XP, you score, you get KOs, you take some Audinos or something like that. Like, you're going to actually be way far ahead at that point. But I'm just talking worst case scenario. If you were AFK and you only hit your 2 buff camps and 2 Corphish, you're going to hit level 8 before Dreadnought spawns, or right when Dreadnought spawns, and that's going to allow your team to snowball the game out of control. Because Sylveon's damage is already absurd. You going and having Unite move before Dreadnought, you just run over Dreadnought, drop that Unite move, wipe the enemy team, or push them off the point, and then you take Dreadnought for yourself. And because Sylveon's such an amazing objective taker, it's an easy W. And then the enemy, now your whole team has their Unite moves, the enemy team doesn't have theirs, and you're just going to stomp them for the rest of the game. It's that simple. Sylveon is just it's just a crazy character. But this point is probably the most important one, just because no other character in the entire game can do that. The final point I'll add on, because I think I covered a decent amount, even though we basically only had 3 points, is that Sylveon, for a special attacker that does this much damage, comes online incredibly quickly. Like, if you think in your head, what is the predominant early game, like, speedster? What's the predominant early game jungler that's going to output the most damage as early as possible? You think Absol, because Absol, you clear your jungle one time, you level up to Pursue, and you can go and one-shot people, right? Even Absol has to go and wait until level 5 and a full jungle clear to level up their move, to get their first move upgrade. Sylveon literally gets it after its like first buff camp. How crazy is that? So like, you literally go from, whatever it is you pick at the start. Maybe you pick Swift. You kill your Lillipup, and then you go and you take Ludicolo, and then you unlock the other ability, plus you unlock Hyper Voice by the time you get to Buffalant. And then you can go and clear your entire jungle with Hyper Voice, which is a lot faster of a clear, right? But it's not just the jungle clear that matters, it's the ability to affect other lanes that matters as well, because obviously it's important to clear your jungle to get your first jungle clear because experience matters. But experience matters because it's going to allow you to get those move upgrades, right? But Sylveon literally only has to take one buff camp to get their first move upgrade. So if something happens, if a team fight is happening in bottom lane, or they're getting dove, whereas on a Talonflame or an Absol, you want to go and clear your camps first so that you can actually affect that team fight in a positive way, Sylveon literally can respond at any point in those first few moments of the game with an already upgraded move that does tons of damage, like we talked about in the first, in the first segment. So think about that as well. Like, this character is like, for the amount of damage output that it deals as a special attack character, it is phenomenal early game as well. It just, like, it doesn't have any seemingly massive weak points other than your classic weak points for any character in the game, like CC, you know? And so that's why I think Sylveon is just so incredibly powerful. Gardevoir mains are probably sick over the release of this character because Sylveon probably does more damage overall than Gardevoir will ever deal, except Sylveon does not have to be routes for 8 minutes of the game. Like, if I'm a Gardevoir main, I'm sick over this. But I have a feeling if you're a Gardevoir main, you're probably not a Gardevoir main anymore. You're probably hopping on the Sylveon train. But that's it, guys. Those are my points that I wanted to get across. I wanted to really dig down and explain why this character is so insane. Will it see nerfs? I don't know. Who knows? It's an enjoyable pick right now. So if you're playing it, go check out the guide. Go run that build, and I promise you'll see results. Thank you so much for all the support. Make sure you go and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you haven't already down below. It would mean the world to me. We just passed 20K. That's crazy. And follow me on TikTok too. I'm trying to do some like short videos, like 1-minute guides for every single character in the game, just for people to have as a quick reference. And I'm dropping them on TikTok as well. So go and do that. Follow me on Twitter because my Twitter game is super weak right now. I think I don't even know how many followers I have. Like, nobody's on my Twitter, but I try to respond to everything. So if you hop in my Discord, you hop on, you at me on Twitter, you at me on TikTok, anything like that, I usually respond. And we've got a pretty solid community on Discord if you're looking for a Unite group as well. So thank you so much for all the support. I'm sorry for rambling, but if I rambled, just blame it on the ADHD. You guys have a good day. Damocles out.